Like me. Varian Johnson. Griff, snap out of it, Evan says, jabbing his elbow into my rib cage. You're missing the newbies. I glance at Evan, trying to ignore the scraggly reddish-brown soul patch on his chin, then turn to follow his gaze. A mob of girls huddled together like starry-eyed lambs heading to the slaughter make their way across the quad with Principal Greer herding them along. With their blinding white blouses and heavily starched skirts, they look like rejects from an episode of Gossip Girl. Of course, my blazer and slacks would fit in the show just fine. As Principal Greer says, we're all cut from the same cloth here. Where are the boys? Did their group already pass? Callie sports the same uniform as every other girl at Hobbs, but takes a more generous interpretation on the skirt's length requirements. Did we look that scared last year? Rebecca asks. They're terrified. Though talking to the group, she leans into me. I try to ignore the sweetness of her citrus-scented perfume, the color of her perfectly pink lips, the touch of her freckled hand against mine. Which one do you think will bite the dust first? Evan asks. My bet's on the chubby one with the splotchy cheeks. No way, Callie says. You see Tinkerbell, the one with the pixie cut? She probably still wets the bed. Only a handful of events are certain at Hobbs Academy. The chicken enchilada will give you diarrhea. Coach Hawkins will mutter something inappropriate during the spring pep rally, and we'll all hear it thanks to the state-of-the-art sound system. And at least one freshman won't make it past the first 2 weeks. That last one may as well be chiseled in stone. While Rebecca yells at Evan and Callie for being mean, my gaze falls to 2 girls at the tail of the mob. Rail-thin, leggy, dark brown skin. Short, bouncy black hair. Twins? Maybe. Black? Definitely. I should know. What do you think? Evan elbows me again, pushing me into Rebecca. Which one leaves first? The blonde, I mumble, trying to regain my balance. Which one? He asks. There are like 20 of them. Exactly. With about 30 students per grade, Hobbs is the smallest boarding school in Vermont. Our demographics are just like the states. White, white, and white. I guess that's not fair. Technically, Rebecca is 1/8 German, 3/8 Sephardic Jewish, and 1/2 Irish. And Evan has enough Muskegee blood running through him to be a member of the Creek Nation. Still, I didn't see anyone looking at them when we talked about the Holocaust or the Trail of Tears last year in world history. But let anyone mention Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. or Will Smith or even the slightly black-looking dude who trims Principal Greer's prized rose bushes, and suddenly I'm the center of attention. It got bad during Black History Month. I own February at Hobbs. Even the cafeteria lady gets in on it. Like, I'm sorry, Griffin. So sorry. First, well, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, do I now? We had slavery. Next came those horrible Jim Crow laws. And then Hurricane Katrina. Can you believe it? Here, take an extra slice of cake. It's lemon. I've got watermelon and fried chicken and red Kool-Aid in back too, just for you. Okay, she didn't say all of that stuff. Not at the same time, anyway. But this afternoon in September, the cafeteria lady barely looks in my direction as she plops a scoop of lasagna onto my tray. Dude, Evan says as I near the table, I heard there's twins in the new class. Twins! I slide into the chair beside him, bypassing the empty seat by Rebecca. They're in my PE class, Callie says. Violet and Jasmine Harris. I think coach is going to talk to them about playing volleyball. Volleyball playing twins. Evan's eyes make him look like a rat in search of cheese. How do they look? Callie glances at me. You know, they're tall, and they have brown eyes. Evan's eyes dart around the room. Yeah, and they're, I drop my fork on the tray, not expecting the clang of metal on plastic to ring so loudly. They're black. The table falls silent. Another rule at Hobbs: no one talks about race. Like last year's mono outbreak and Principal Greer's BO, we ignore it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Pretend it doesn't matter. I saw them in the library. Rebecca picks at her salad. A sea of iceberg lettuce and creamy ranch dressing, with a few walnuts on top to make it reasonably healthy. What makes you think they want to play volleyball? The question hangs in the air. We remain statues. Callie finally shifts. They seemed interested in gym class. She tugs at the necklace around her reddening neck. And I think I overheard them saying something about how they used to play at their old school. The way she speaks, low and mumbling and more to the table than us, doesn't do her any favors. Now it's Rebecca's turn to glance in my direction. Callie, don't make stuff up. They've been friends since nursery school, so she never holds back. I stare at her, and with my eyes I yell, Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete. Rebecca doesn't get my silent code. But then again, she's a Mac type of girl. Those commands don't exist in her universe. You thought they'd be good at sports because they're African American. Admit it. Callie shakes her head. Why would I? I plaster the biggest smile I can muster to my face. Like Callie would ever think something like that. You guys have seen me play basketball, right? Two-legged cockroaches jump higher than me. They all laugh. Quietly. Politely. Nothing like the way my cousins laughed when Benji cracked the same lame joke about me this summer. Once everyone's provided the appropriate amount of laughter, we stuff whatever remains on our trays into our mouths. Rebecca steals a few more glances at me, but doesn't speak. And Evan spends the rest of lunch talking about Tinkerbell. So much for volleyball playing twins. The next day, right after calculus, I see the Harris twins coming down the hallway. Buds in their ears, heads bouncing. They're almost as tall as me, and I'm a hair under 6 foot. I pause, letting everyone else slide past me out of class. When the twins are close enough, I try to catch their gaze, to give them a head nod. Quick tilt back, chin up. They keep walking. Don't even look in my direction. Maybe they're too busy listening to their iPods. Maybe they're too busy thinking about their next class. Or maybe I just blend in with everyone else. I see them a few other times over the next couple of days. Sometimes in the hallway, sometimes in the caf. But I never have the opportunity to speak. I mean, yes, I could speak to them. But what am I supposed to say? Hello, my Negro friends. Welcome to Hobbs Academy, which is whiter than rice and eggshells and vanilla-flavored milk. If you act like Bryant Gumbel and Wayne Brady, you'll fit right in. My modification of yet another series of lame jokes about me, courtesy of Benji. Uttered any time I walked, spoke, breathed, or blinked. So I don't speak to the Harris girls, and they don't speak to me. We just pass each other, day after day. It's quite possible that I could have gone on avoiding Violet and Jasmine for another week, or maybe forever, if Rebecca hadn't called me out. They asked about you, she says one Thursday night when we're doing our homework in the study room on her floor. Boys are allowed on the floor until 8 p.m. I've been here every night this week, even on days I didn't have homework. It's like I can't help myself. Who? I ask, playing dumb. Violet and Jasmine. Oh, what do they want to know? Just your name, where you were from, if you were cool. Why'd they ask you? I know the words come out harder than they're supposed to, but I need to know. Violet thought... Rebecca flips a page in her chemistry book. They see us together a lot. We don't speak for a few minutes. I move on to my next calculus problem, but I may as well be deciphering Sanskrit. It doesn't help that Rebecca's wearing her hair like she did on our trip to New York last year. The drama club went to see Wicked on Broadway, and even though I was a set designer, well, more like a grunt for the set designer, I got to tag along. The play was okay, I guess. All I remember is Rebecca sitting beside me, dark curls spilling over her shoulders, skin smelling like oranges and mangoes, thigh pressed against mine during the entire show. The musical was named right. There had been something wicked going on in my head, and in my pants. The young twin has a boyfriend, Rebecca says, but not the older one. Not Violet. Okay. Another flip of the page. You know, in case you were interested. I shake my head harder than necessary. I don't like her, I say, loudly, just to be sure she hears me. Not like that anyway. I don't even know her. Rebecca shrugs, opens her mouth, closes it, shrugs again, shuts her book, takes a breath. You said you were going to call this summer. Her voice is low, and the hurt on her face slams into me harder than 1,000 of Benji's lame, flat, painful, offensive jokes. I know. I'm sorry. Is it because... Whatever bravery she exhibited confronting Callie on the first day of school has withered away. It's because I'm stupid. We're both quiet. Rebecca's hair falls over her face, hiding her full, round cheeks. You should talk to them, she says softly. They're lonely. Now it's my turn to shrug. The next day, I head for the library, hall pass in hand. Rebecca stands at the circulation desk, but busies herself by looking in every possible direction except mine. It doesn't take me long to find Violet. At least I assume it's Violet. They are twins after all. Violet? I ask, nearing the table. She looks up from her textbook and slips the buds from her ears. Griff, what's up? I sit down across from her. Her skin glows under the hard, bright fluorescent lights. I just wanted to officially introduce myself. I've been meaning to, but don't sweat it. I'm sure you got better things to do than hang with someone like me. The sweat collecting underneath my arm approaches oceanic levels. What makes you think that? I'm a freshman. Low man on the totem pole. Sophomores aren't much better off, I mumble. So where's your sister? Her smile falters. In study hall, texting that sorry, trifling boyfriend of hers. She leans closer to me. She smells like aloe vera. Nice, but nothing like citrus. I miss my boyfriend too, but you don't see me moping around. She has a boyfriend. I want to turn toward Rebecca and her dark curls and citrus-scented skin and yell, "She has a boyfriend!" It ain't just him. It's home. She strums the table. She misses home. Hobbs takes a while to get used to. How long did it take you? I laugh. When I get there, I'll let you know. I'm in the middle of telling her about what cafeteria meals to avoid when Mrs. Whitaker walks over. The school librarian is out on maternity leave, so Mandy Whitaker's mom offered to substitute. Like an English degree, 2 snobby teens, and a huge bank account make you an expert on all things literary. You two getting any work done? Mrs. Whitaker asks. Griffin was nice enough to come over and introduce himself. He's giving me some pointers about school. She glances at Violet's notebook. What are you studying? English. She moves her hand, giving Mrs. Whitaker full view of her notebook. I'm working on an essay on I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I'm familiar with the book, Mrs. Whitaker says, touching the top button of her blouse. I thought your class was reading The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I read it last year. She doesn't blink an eye. Mr. Brooks and I thought it would be more worthwhile to focus on another book. I see. Mrs. Whitaker's voice is different, smaller. She looks around the table, letting her eyes settle on the open Angelo book. The pages sport an assortment of highlights and underlines, with notes in the margins. It's my personal copy, Violet says. Of course. Mrs. Whitaker nods to Violet, then to me. Let me know if I can help, okay? After Mrs. Whitaker leaves, Violet shakes her head. Her eyes remind me of a dull penny. Sorry about getting you into trouble. My bad. It's almost magical, the way she switches talking like that. Some people call it slang. Teachers call it bad English. Idiots call it ebonics. And me? I call it just talking, like you do with family. I want to be like her, loose and carefree with my vowels and consonants, right here at Hobbs. Because lately, even at home with my cousins, the words are starting to come out stiff and broken and wrong. The last time I was home, they said I sounded white. I shake this thought away. I'm not worried about Mrs. Whitaker. That ain't who I'm talking about. I look back toward the circulation desk. Rebecca is scrubbing the counter with a dust rag. I can almost see the varnish rising from the counter and the steam rising from her head. She don't have anything to worry about. Like I said, I have a boyfriend. She glances at Rebecca. She's nice. Everybody thinks you two would make a nice couple. Really? I ask. Everyone? The way she looks at me, I know she understands what I'm trying to ask. Don't date her if you don't want to. It's a free country, but she's got it bad for you. And from the way it sounds, you're jonesing for her too. That's all she says. No jokes about the other white meat. No teasing about the black man's kryptonite. No jabs about Mr. Oreo looking for a glass of milk. She picks up her earbuds. I'd better get back to work. This essay ain't going to write itself. I take a scrap of paper and scribble my number on it. Just in case you need to get a hold of me. About anything. She takes the paper. Hey, what you got going on this weekend? Want to hang out with me and Jazzy on Saturday? It might take her mind off of home and that sorry boyfriend of hers. She pops her knuckles. I've been waiting for the right time to bring out the dominoes. And now that we have a third player, I think about lying or coming up with some excuse. But after the conversation we had, Violet deserves better. I don't know how to play. She blinks twice like she's processing the data. Oh, okay, we'll teach you. I sit there, not sure what to say. She's already got her nose back in her book. And if you want, bring Rebecca. That way we can play spades too. I head to circulation, which smells of wildflowers and ammonia, and oranges and mangoes. Thanks for getting me to talk to Violet. No problem. I forgot you guys were even in here. Sure she did. I reach across the wide desk and place my hand on hers. Mrs. Whitaker would have a heart attack if she saw, but who cares? What are you doing for lunch? She glances at my hand. You don't want to go to the caf with Evan and Callie? No. Let's walk over to Pat's. Just us? Yeah. Just us. Like we used to last year. She gives me a smile that grabs me and refuses to let go. You're buying. I squeeze her hand, smile one last time, and head for the exit. Right before I open the door, I look back at Violet and give her a head nod. She sees me, and she nods back.